Hey everyone, welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're taking a fascinating story, a real classic, slightly spooky adventure, and we're breaking it down to uncover the truth. There's actually a massive amount this story can teach us about fear, investigation, and the power of faith. We are diving deep into the mystery of Bhootia Gaon, which translates to the haunted village. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's unravel this whole mystery together.
So is there really a ghost behind every scary sound? I mean, it's a question that plays on our oldest, deepest fears, right? Our story today begins in a setting perfectly primed for some spookiness. Picture this. A group of kids are visiting their nannies, their grandmother's village. They absolutely love the peaceful vibe of the place. But suddenly, the weather shifts. The sky turns this ominous dark gray, and a heavy thundering storm rolls in. You know that exact feeling, right? When the atmosphere suddenly gets super heavy, the daylight drops, and the wind just starts howling? It's literally the perfect backdrop for a mystery to unfold.
Section 1. Nani's Scary Tale.
Okay, let's dive into this. As the storm raged outside, the kids were safely tucked indoors, and naturally, they begged their grandmother for a scary story to match that intense mood outside. Nani finally gave in, warning them of an abandoned place nearby. She said, "People call it the haunted village. Strange lights and strange sounds are heard at night." Now, if you tell a group of curious, energetic kids about a mysterious, off-limits place with strange, supernatural stuff going on, what do you think is going to happen? Exactly. Instead of scaring them into staying put on the couch, her chilling description acts like an absolute magnet. It instantly sparks their thirst for adventure, and they decide right then and there that they have to find this village for themselves.
Moving on to our next part, searching the haunted village.
So the kids decide to actually sneak out. They leave the warmth, the light, and the safety of Nani's house and step right out into the stormy, unpredictable weather, promising each other, hey, we'll just take a quick look and come right back. But as they reach the outskirts of the supposedly haunted village, the light drops even further. The air gets incredibly cold, and it is completely, eerily quiet. There's literally not a soul in sight. But then, the silence breaks. They start hearing the exact strange noises Nani warned them about. What was making those strange noises? I mean, put yourself in their shoes for a second. You've been explicitly told a place is haunted. You walk into its dark limits, and suddenly, unexplained creeping sounds are echoing all around you in the storm.
Panic sets in immediately. They're whispering, "This place is really scary. What was that? I saw something." The dark atmosphere is actively playing tricks on them at this point. And honestly, when your brain is already primed to expect ghosts, every single shadow looks like a monster, and every breeze sounds like a malicious whisper. They even see strange lights flickering in the distance. The fear absolutely peaks right here. They are terrified, standing in the middle of a rumored haunted village, 100% convinced they've just encountered the supernatural.
Which brings us to fear and prayer.
Now, this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Because instead of running away in a blind panic or just letting their fear completely paralyze them, the children experience a crucial turning point. They remember their roots. They turn to their faith to find the courage they need to face whatever is lurking in the shadows, and they recite a specific prayer. Auzubillah mina shaitan rajim, which translates to seeking refuge from the outcast shaitan, or Satan. And reciting this, it isn't just about warding off evil in a spiritual sense, it serves a deeply psychological purpose as well. It completely grounds them. It slows their racing hearts, clears the blinding panic from their minds, and lets them actually think rationally about what's happening around them.
This leads us right into the village's real truth. Empowered by their prayer and with remarkably clear heads, the children transform right before our eyes. They go from being frightened, passive kids to brave, logical investigators. Looking around carefully, it doesn't take long for them to stumble upon a massive clue, like a literal smoking gun that changes the whole story. They find a discovery that reads, "This village was emptied years ago because a huge storm came." Boom! This is the real logical reason the village was abandoned. It wasn't ghosts or ghouls or evil spirits driving the people away. It was a devastating natural disaster. The locals had to leave for their own safety years ago due to a massive storm. Actually, much like the very one currently brewing around the kids.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how systematically the children begin to debunk the village's terrifying rumors using their newfound logic. Let's look at the first myth, the ghostly sounds. When they actually walk up to the source of the noise, they realize it isn't spirits howling in the night. The reality, it's simply the heavy wind from the storm moving the old, creaky, abandoned doors of the houses. The physical environment was just naturally creating the perfect spooky sound effect. No ghosts required.
And what about those terrifying visuals? The myth claimed there were scary figures and strange lights moving in the dark. But upon closer inspection, the reality was just old, tattered curtains left behind in the abandoned homes, blowing out of the broken windows in the wind. When the kids were deeply scared, their minds completely fabricated monsters out of these everyday objects moving in the stormy weather. But with their fear gone, they can clearly see the mundane truth. There are absolutely no ghosts here.
Finally, we reach Nani's lesson.
The mystery is officially solved. The children make a triumphant return to Nani's house, completely safe and, honestly, incredibly proud of themselves. After hearing all about their wild adventure, how they got so scared by the sights and sounds, how they remembered their prayers to calm down, and how they ultimately uncovered the village's secret through bravery and faith, Nani wraps up the night with some beautiful, timeless wisdom. First, not everything strange is a ghost. There's usually a perfectly logical explanation for the things that go bump in the night. Second, find the truth before getting scared. Seriously, don't let rumors, tall tales, and your own imagination run wild. Investigate and seek the facts first. And third, remember Allah, one afraid. This story just beautifully balances logic with faith, showing how spiritual grounding can actually give you the mental clarity needed to discover the objective truth right in front of you.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that fear is often just a lack of understanding. Which brings me to my final question for you. What mysteries will you investigate instead of fearing? The next time you hear a strange sound in the dark, are you going to let your imagination build a ghost story, or will you bravely seek out the creaky door? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. If you enjoyed uncovering this mystery with us and want to keep learning how to break down the unknown, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss our next adventure. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.